Signing day is over, and it's officially the off-season in Alabama, but we're still talking Crimson Tide football. A signing day recap and one of Alabama's biggest signing day prizes is scheduled to talk with us right now on Tider Insider Television.
Go inside the Crimson Tide. Tider Insider TV with Rodney Orr and Gary Harris.
What a day last Wednesday. National Signing Day saw Alabama sign 27 new recruits. It was a class that some are calling one of the best ever on paper in the history of football recruiting.
University of Alabama.
Now that, of course, is yet to be seen, but clearly Nick Saban and company took home the nation's top-rated recruiting class. And with that, we say good evening, everybody, and welcome in to Tider Insider TV, presented each and every week by Buffalo Rock, alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com. I'm Gary Harris.
I already popped my lid.
You already popped it today.
I wasn't thinking.
You weren't thinking, because that's become one of the most popular parts of the show, is you popping the top. Ice cold Diet Pepsi, that is good. Well, Rodney, what a day last Wednesday was for the Crimson Tide. 27 new members of the Alabama football team now, because they signed on the dotted line on Wednesday. It's being billed as the top class in the country. But more importantly, I think, Rod, was the fact that it met needs for Alabama. Let's don't forget, even a program like Alabama, which signs a lot of highly touted recruits, still is looking to fill specific needs, and Nick Saban said that Alabama did that.
Oh, yeah, when you look at it, Gary, of course, what's up front that really counts. You look at Cameron Robinson there, the #1 left tackle in the country. I mean, all the way to Ronnie Clark, one of the top athletes in the state of Alabama. I mean, the class is loaded on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Just an outstanding class.
You know, we're taking a look at just some of the numbers that show you exactly, at least on paper. I keep using that term because these guys have not done anything yet for Alabama, but you see how the class ranks up, you know, in terms of all the great prospects that are in it, Rod. And I know Alabama's very good. 3 national championships in the last 5 years. We're 11-0 this year before losing the heartbreaker against Auburn and then losing to Oklahoma in the Sugar Bowl. But still, as we know, you can't rest on your laurels. And just because you've recruited well in the past, it's never a guarantee that you'll recruit well in the future. So for Alabama to turn in, arguably, the top class that Nick Saban's signed since he's been here at the Capstone says something about the way this staff approaches its business and recruiting. They never rest.
Well, no question about it. I mean, Gary, I think this is obviously one of the hardest working staffs in the country in terms of recruiting. I mean, they lay the groundwork early and they finish late. We saw exactly how late they finished, Gary, with our next guest, Rashaan Evans, maybe the #1 linebacker in the country.
Well, you said it, Rodney. One of the big pieces of that recruiting class is Rashaan Evans, the linebacker from Auburn High School in Auburn, that is now a member of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Rashaan, thanks for being with us. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Very well. Gary Harris and Rodney Orr. Let me start out by asking you, just first of all, I know it was an incredible process for you going through the recruiting cycle and then narrowing it down to Alabama, Auburn, and UCLA. Just talk about last Wednesday, what that was like, and was it a relief for you when you finally came out and said, hey, I'm going to Alabama?
Oh, yeah, it was a great thing for me. I mean, just the fact that I got a chance, you know, to kind of get everything over with. I mean, it was a long process for me, and you know, it was something that I really had to kind of think through because, you know, I wanted to pick the best school that was best for me, and Tuscaloosa was the school. Hey,
Rashaan, you know, looking back 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, I mean, did you really think you would end up at Alabama?
I don't think I did. I actually thought I was going to end up at Auburn, to be honest with you. You know, I mean, just the fact I was in, you know, my hometown, and you know, I was going over there pretty often, so I really thought I was going to go to Auburn, and then Alabama kind of showed up on the scene, and you know, ever since then, I was attracted to Auburn.
When did it dawn on you that, hey, I might be going to Alabama? When did that start coming to your mind?
Yeah, I mean, really when got a chance to actually go over there and you know, really take the other officials, that was probably the big thing. And the fact that I got a you know, chance to develop a great relationship with Kirby Smart and also Nick Saban, I mean, that was probably one of the biggest things.
Well, I've got to ask you this question. Who played a bigger role in convincing you to come to Alabama? Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, or Reuben Foster?
I'll probably say Reuben. I'll probably be one of the biggest. I mean, just me and him played in high school together. me and him got a great relationship, and, you know, it's getting stronger and stronger over the year. And, you know, me and him just talked about, you know, about the schools that, you know, kind of fitted me best, you know, just skill-wise, and also what I was looking forward to, you know, as far as, you know, achieving my goals. And, you know, me and him kind of narrowed it down together, and, you know, Tuscaloosa was the place.
Well, talk about how Alabama intends to use you. I know there's been talk about playing one of the outside linebacker spots. Some people say you could be a jack linebacker, but kind of talk about what the coaching staff has told you where you'd fit in.
Yeah, they actually see me as both Jack and Sam. Really just the, you know, the weight and size, you know, can play a big part of, you know, which position I play. You know, just for me being a lighter guy and being much faster than, you know, some of the guys they've normally recruited, you know, they kind of see me as more of a Sam spot right now. But, you know, gradually over the years, you know, I can, you know, grow into the Jack spot. But, you know, they really told me not to worry too much about the weight, you know, just continue to stay in shape and also, you know, continue to get faster.
Rashaan, I want to ask you, I know you're still just a young man, a high school senior, but you're a smart guy. You grew up in Auburn. Your dad played there, later went back to Auburn, got his degree. Your mother has multiple degrees from there. You knew there was going to be some pushback when you chose Alabama. Talk about that, and having known that, are you still somewhat surprised by some of the negativity you're receiving on the Auburn end? And I guess the flip side of that is you're getting a lot of positive feedback from Alabama. Talk about you know, the decision to do that and what you've been facing down there at Auburn.
Yeah. I mean, I knew it was going to happen. I mean, it really wasn't a shock to me. I mean, but some of the stuff that's happening now kind of was a shock. I really didn't know it was going to escalate to this kind of magnitude, but I mean, it's not that bad. You know, me as a guy, you know, I'm more of a mature guy. You know, I can kind of handle some of the things, you know, some of these people are saying to me. And I also try to stay off of social media. That's probably one of the biggest things that a lot of kids my age get in trouble with, you know, staying on social media, looking at all those comments. That kind of like wear and tear you, you know, mentally wise. But, you know, for me, you know, Alabama with the fans and all those guys, you know, they've been showing me a lot of support. And, you know, I mean, just with that, I mean, that just shows to me that Tuscaloosa was the best place for me. I mean, they've, you know, sent me nothing but nice messages and, you know, just really comforted me on the whole situation with me and Auburn. But, you know, and also just on the fact that, you know, Auburn is not all Auburn is like that. And, you know, you're going to have that, you know, with both places, you know, with Auburn and Alabama. That's just the way, you know, football is, you know, competition and stuff like that. And I do understand that. So I don't really take anything that they say to heart. You know, I know it's just, you know, something that was real sensitive because, you know, me coming from Auburn, you know, it's, you know, you got people that's, you know, really who's looking forward to me, you know, going to Auburn. And, you know, I understand that. So that's why I don't really, you know, go off and all that. Really, I really hate all this attention. You know, I really, it's kind of hard for me to, you know, live my you know, normal life like I want to, because, you know, I got, you know, constant people, you know, that's here right now, you know, looking at me, you know, and it's kind of scary a little bit because, you know, you don't know what can happen. But
right.
It's not that bad, though. But
yeah,
right now, you say what?
Just well stated. I think you stated that very, very well. We're getting a little short on time, but it's clear that you're a mature young man, and you're right. It's a great rivalry. There's a certain element on both sides that probably take it a little too far. Final question, though, before we let you out of here. You talked about how Alabama wants to use you, but you know what type of program you're coming into. You know that there is talent here, and it's, you know, players waiting behind better players. Can you get on the field early in your mind? Do you think you can play as a true freshman?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's based off of the player. You know, what they can learn right then and there, I think is more the mental part about it, not so much the physical part. I think the physical part is going to come in time, but, you know, just for the mental part and the scheme that they can use me in and the ways they can use me, I think I can get on the field pretty early.
Well, Rashaan, we appreciate the time. Great to chat with you. Get in the weight room, get ready to come up here to Alabama and make an impact. Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem, man.
All right, Rashaan Evans, Auburn High School linebacker, Alabama football signee. Well, Rodney, he's part of a great class in 2014, but it's never too early to start looking ahead to next year. Already, Alabama, look at that commitment list for 2015. 7 verbals, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about this a lot going forward, but already that list right there, Alabama could be building toward another top-rated class.
Yeah, look at Lester Cotton, the local offensive lineman, Gary, going to be one of the best in the country. Mekhi Brown, the guy at the top of that list, an outstanding player. So, you know, several prospects on there that are already being rated highly, and Alabama being mentioned with a lot of other guys. And, you know, we covered on Tighter Insider. We're running a lot of interviews with upcoming seniors. So, you know, you can stay in touch with Recruiting 2015 at TighterInsider.com.
All right. Much more to come here on Tider Insider TV. Up next, we'll continue our spring football preview by looking at the secondary. And we go inside the Alabama basketball team. Will the Tide be able to get back in the win column against Ole Miss tonight? We'll preview that game and talk about the state of the program under Coach Anthony Grant. And we'll be welcoming your phone calls, emails, and tweets. You see the information there on your screen on how you can get in touch with us. Call us, email us, or tweet at us. We'll be looking up the information and getting you on the program. We'll be right back with the only show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide. Tider Insider Television returns after the break. Well, it certainly wasn't a blowout like some expected, and Alabama played really well in the first half. It was tied at halftime, but in the second half, Florida kind of flexed its muscles and went ahead and put the Tide away 78-69 on Saturday in Gainesville, dropping Alabama to 3-7 in the SEC. And Rodney, with the losses come vocal fans asking when Anthony Grant should lose his job. Is he going to lose his job? Will he get another year? All those questions are being asked right now. Certainly a win tonight against Ole Miss would help Grant's cause. The Rebels are a really good basketball team, but you know, to do that, to get that done, they're going to have to play well, probably better than they've been playing lately. Here's Anthony Grant.
Really impressed with Summers. Darius White, Perez is playing really well, and their front court does a great job of rebounding the basketball and you know, providing you know, hustle plays for their team. Defensively, they're going to mix it up and do a lot of different things. So it should be a great test for our guys. Excited to get back on the court again, get back home, and looking forward to the challenge.
There you see a look at low Tide right now, Rod. Again, some basketball left to be played, but the program right now is not in a good place.
No, it's not, but I think you need to let the season play out, see how they finish, and kind of go from there in terms of assessment.
Like I said, the defense lately, teams shooting way too high a percentage against Alabama. They need to tighten down tonight against Marshall Henderson and company and pick up a win. All right, back to football. It's time for our weekly spring football preview. We've been looking at 1 unit per week here on TITV. Tonight, we preview the secondary. Rodney, the secondary is an area where Alabama's looking for help. Clinton Dick's gone. Sinceri gone. Deion Ballou gone. Plus, this was a unit that had its struggles last year. So this is a part of the football team that needs to get better.
Yep, a lot of young guys. Gary Eddie Jackson's a very talented corner. Cyrus Jones, you know, last year converted as a wide receiver, and it was, you know, a little bit of a difficult transition. That's what you would expect, though. Now he's got some experience. Bradley Sylvie was doing a nice job before he went down later in the season with an ankle injury. Maury Smith's another young guy that was a freshman last year that, you know, has a chance, and they redshirted a couple of guys at the corner spot, Jonathan Cook, Anthony Averett, 2 guys that are going to be worth watching this spring. And Tony Brown, the incoming freshman, very talented kid out of Beaumont, Texas, one of the more highly regarded corners in the country. You know, he has the ability, Gary. He could also see some time at safety. And just speaking of that, obviously, Landon Collins had a great year at safety last year. Jarek Williams is back. I thought he had an outstanding year as well. And Geno Smith came around. So, you know, a lot of guys returning with some experience. Hootie Jones is another guy that's in as a freshman this year, enrolled early. So he'll go through spring practice, and you know it's going to be interesting to see how how they develop over the course of the spring.
You see there are some good numbers at least to work with, and as you mentioned, some guys got some experience last week, some talented newcomers coming in. It'll be interesting to see who kind of grabs these jobs.
Oh, no question. I mean, and again, a lot of these guys have some starting experience. You know, Sylvie started, Cyrus Jones started, Eddie Jackson started. The Ole Miss game also started the Oklahoma game. So, you know, they're all young. But, you know, you have some leadership back there, I think, with Landon Collins and also Jarek Williams
Nick
certainly.
Perry will be coming back.
And you know, Geno Smith started, he's contributed significantly over the last 2 years. So, again, it's going to be an interesting spot to watch in terms of the secondary.
Some good numbers. Next week, we'll continue our spring preview. It'll be here before you know it. We'll get to the offense. Alabama's wide receiving core this past season was top-notch. How will they stack up in 2014? That's next week, right here on Tider Insider TV. And now, next up, the signing day we talked about was great, but one of the more uplifting stories involves a player who'll probably never get on the field at Alabama. And we'll be welcoming your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Again, you see the information on the screen. Interact with Tider Insider TV right now. Go ahead and give us a call, send us an email, or contact us on social media. We'll be right back with more Crimson Tide news on Tider Insider TV. It's not often when a football player gets to sign a scholarship, even though he'll probably never play the game again. But that's what happened to Tucker, Georgia's Elisha Shaw after suffering a career-ending neck injury. Shaw saw most of his potential suitors back off, but not Alabama. Nick Saban stuck by him, and he had a signing ceremony on signing day. He'll come to Alabama on a medical scholarship and will work probably as a student coach or a manager or something like that. Rodney, that's a great story right there.
It really is, you know, Gary. And one of the things is he's a very talented kid, one of the top defensive linemen in the country. Could have also played on the offensive side, and you know that neck injury certainly maybe has ended his career, but it is a good story.
Still get to be a part of Alabama football. You have to like that. All right, let's go to the phones. First up tonight, John and Helena. John, welcome into the program.
Hey, guys. Hey, what I'd like to know is what is that defensive line going to look like next year as far as experience and size? And do we have any junior college guys? And also in Kiffin's offense, do they throw to the tight end?
Yeah, they actually do throw to the tight end. And I think, you know, one of the guys that Alabama recruited, Ty Flanoy Smith, who they just signed, I think that was one of the key reasons was because Lane Kiffin likes to utilize tight ends. He wants more tight ends in the program. I think also look for Alabama to recruit pure fullbacks now, because I think he wants to line up, you know, two backs in the backfield, Gary, much like we used to see in the past. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see Alabama go for some fullbacks in terms of recruiting in the future. And I think he asked about the defensive line. I think, you know, when you look at it, Ashawn Robinson, certainly a guy that returns, heads that returning list. We can't necessarily go through all of them, but you did ask about some of the junior college players. You know, DJ Petway's a guy that has been here. He's had some success as a redshirt freshman, transferred out, went to East Mississippi Community College last year, helped them to a national championship with 11.5 sacks. His teammate, Jaron Reed, very highly touted interior defensive lineman, also very successful there, helping East Mississippi to that national championship. So, you know, those two guys, Gary, I would expect, you know, if they do everything they're supposed to do, you would certainly think that they would have a great opportunity to make a really good impact next year.
Thanks, John, for the phone call. Let's go to Sylacauga and talk to Charles. Charles, welcome in. You're on TITV.
All right. Yeah, will this year's defense be better than the previous defense for Alabama under Nick Saban?
Better than all of the previous defenses, or better?
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't know. You know, that's really difficult to say, Charles, because you're talking about 2011 may have been one of the best Alabama's ever had. You know, people arguably say it is the best, maybe even better than 92. You know, so I really would hate to venture that guess, but I will say this. I think that Alabama now is recruiting some players, and just like Rashaan Evans, who we just interviewed, Christian Miller, DJ Petway, guys with some speed that's going to add some athleticism on the defense, and I think you're going to see a faster Alabama defense here in the future.
All right, thanks for the phone calls. Coming up, it's almost baseball season. The SEC released its preseason picks today. Where was the Tide pick? We will let you know, and we'll talk about it. Plus, more of your phone calls, emails, and tweets. So if you haven't had an opportunity to get through yet, keep trying. 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. Or email us or send us a tweet. We'll be back with more of Tider Insider Television right after this. Alabama's baseball season opens on Friday night at home against St. Louis, the first of 3 games over the weekend. Today, the SEC coaches picked the Tide to finish third in the SEC West behind LSU and Mississippi State. That's not bad. Overall, South Carolina was picked to win the conference championship in the East and the West, but the Tide should have a pretty good season. For once, they've got some experience coming back, so that ought to be a lot of fun over there at the Joe this year. Let's go back to the phones, Rod, and John is with us from Bessemer. John, how are you?
Gary, what's going on, man?
Hey, man.
Hey, man, I'm calling about the basketball coach, man. He needs to go. He been there too long, man. He needs to go.
All right, John. Well, you know, there's a lot we talked about a little bit earlier. There's certainly a lot of dissatisfaction right now with Anthony Grant. I'm sure that Bill Battle and the athletic administrators that make that type of decision are taking a close look at basketball, and they'll meet with Coach Grant. Let's remember this, though. And I know wins and losses are important, clearly. I mean, that's what most fans base everything on. But there's more to coaching than just the record. And up until this year, he's had a good record at Alabama. And, Rodney, the players have gone to class. They've graduated. They've been good citizens. And that does matter. No,
it does. I think you make a great point, Gary. I think he runs a great program, clean program. And I think that certainly, you know, John, you can have your opinion. And I think we should allow the season to play out and evaluate things after that. And, you know, Gary, I don't think it's out of the question. I think that he'll, you know, there's a good chance he'll get another year.
We'll see. That's for sure. All right. Thanks, John. Let's take an email. about Cameron Robinson, the big offensive tackle from Shreveport. Rodney, do you think Cam Robinson will be the starting left tackle?
Well, you know, again, I'd like to see him go through spring practice first, but he certainly has all the tools. You know, again, I think a big thing for him is the fact that he is here now. He's going through the off-season program. He's going to have an opportunity to go through spring practice. That'll certainly help his progress. And then when he heads into fall, you know, summer, Gary, he'll certainly have a lot of confidence, should have, and then, you know, have the practices, the 29 practices in fall camp. And it would not surprise me if he is the starting left tackle. It's certainly a great opportunity for him with Cyrus Kwanjo leaving.
All right. Thanks for the calls. When we come back on TITV, we'll look at the week ahead for Alabama athletics, including the Tide attempting to continue one of the longest winning streaks in collegiate athletics. Tider Insider TV will continue live from the University of Alabama campus in Tuscaloosa. Look at that. That's pretty nice. Stay with us. We'll be back. You know, doing anything 107 consecutive times is impressive, particularly in sports. And Alabama will take a 107 match winning streak over arch rival Auburn into the meet this Friday night on the Plains. The Tide has won, as I said, 107 in a row. The last time Auburn won was in 1979. Who the football coach was at Alabama then?
Yeah,
Bear Bryant.
that's right. It's a long time ago.
That is a long time ago. But Auburn's gotten a lot better. It's going to be an interesting meet on Friday night. Here's a look at what's ahead for Tide athletics. You see it, big week for basketball on both the men's and women's side. Baseball gets started. Softball will be in action. And gymnastics Friday night at Auburn. Well, as always, if you take a look at these shirts that we've got on, there's only one place you can find the original elephant wear. That's at the locker room on the University Strip, a Tuscaloosa tradition since 1964. But if you can't make it into the store, look them up online. You can get all the original elephant wear, plus all their other great men's wear right there on the internet. All right, if you missed any of the show or you want to see it again, you can catch it anytime on our website, WVUATV.com. For Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for watching Tider Insider TV. Have a good night, everybody.